Greetings, everyone. In this video, I'm talking about Alicia Kim as a mother, as a new mom. I saw some clips, yeah, I think yesterday, and it just brings back memory of being in labor. OMG. For those of you listening to this video, I'm sure it brings back memory for you, and I'm sure you can set aside any feelings, any ill feelings you have toward the whole saga that is unfolding around her name today. We're honoring, we're honoring motherhood, and we're just going to reflect back down the road on what it's like to be pregnant. This 9 months of carrying another human being in your body. Oh my, how spectacular, how amazing God really is that you could carry another human being in your body that survive throughout, 9 months and to take their place on this plane. And for that, we can celebrate. Because I always feel like every child that comes into this world is, you know, handpicked and here for purpose. And so we are celebrating that. And as women, we know the journey and we sometimes underestimate the dangers and the risk of being pregnant. There are so many women who try to conceive and they have such a difficult time in doing so. And then there are those who are able to conceive a pregnancy, but for delivery it's so difficult. Guys, I'm the mother of 3 children, and I've never given birth to any of those 3 children naturally. And while some pregnancy more intense, others seem to be a little better, but they all culminate in me giving birth and watching them take my child and rush to an emergency room, not knowing what's going to happen. It's a very scary thing. So, this Friday, my last baby is turning 18 years old. And when she was born, October 17th, 2007, and it was a very scary time. And as I've shared before, the first year of her life was, really, really scary. But here we are. God is good. So, I'm happy that she has delivered her child, and we're assuming everything is going well with both her and her child. There are a few people that gave birth this year, and I, want to big them up. Jules, she lives in the UK. I believe she gave birth to her baby boy. If I'm wrong, and you see this video, Jules, please correct me. But these young women that are bringing forth life for the next generation, and also to another person, I think it was this year she gave birth, or is that, yeah, I think it's this year if I'm right, and it's Miss R Fabulous. So I love seeing all these young women giving birth to children because it reminds me of my youth, my younger years, and the circumstances in which these women all bring forth life. It varies, but we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate life, and we have to give thanks when a woman passes through that ordeal of bringing forth life, giving birth. It is not easy. And so when I was looking at the little clips from Alicia as she's rocking on the ball, and she seems to be travailing, as they would say in the old days, with child labor. Oh my. Sometimes these things allow girls, young women, to appreciate their moms more too. I'm not speaking that Alicia doesn't appreciate her mom. I'm saying in general, to see that a woman went through all of this to give birth to her baby. And the bond that a woman forms, not just in pregnancy, but when they give birth to the baby. Hopefully this experience will allow her to level up, to look back on past experiences, mistake or otherwise, and just say, you know what, because of this baby girl, I'm going to be a better person. Because honestly, if we're not changing and growing and morphing into new and better persons when we become parents, we need help. So I'm sure most people would be happy for her because this is something that she said she always wanted. And we can remember our time. I remember the first time I saw a sonogram with my firstborn, when, while I was pregnant. I was so excited. And I remember going to get the ultrasound and going back to school that day. And I was showing an older lady the picture. And she was like, "How do you see that?" I was showing her where the faces and the back and the legs were. But that's how excited you get. She couldn't recognize any of it, but I did. And I was just so over the moon. And, when I give birth to these kids, and even though they had to rush them off, when they finally bring them back to me and you take a look at your baby to say, "Oh my gosh," especially when the night before this kid was in your tummy. And I remember my last child, I was saying, oh, my last two actually, I was saying, if I could just wake up in the morning and not have to go through labor, because the thought of it was very scary, and not go through labor and just watch the baby just beside me the next morning, just come out in the night while I'm sleeping and just lay down beside me, and someone comes and cut the umbilical cord. Because I don't know if anybody enjoy going through labor, but most women don't want to do that. Some women are delivered by C-section, and that delay the recovery process, of course. But even nowadays, women are taking the option of taking epidurals, which has its kickback or its side effect. But women can't handle, some women cannot handle that pain. So two of my three children were born, all of them are, I had to get, go to the hospital and get the labor started because I don't produce Pitocin. So I have to get it done, schedule for the child to be born. But two of the three, I got my epidural. And the last one, I could not bear. I don't think I could live through it. Big up the women who give birth naturally. No, thank you. I was scheduled to have epidural for all three. My second child, the nurse said she's going to call the person that administered the anesthesia, whatever it is that they put in your back, the epidural. And she never came back. When she came back, I was ready to push. And she's like, "Oh, look at that. You didn't need it." So she deliberately go about her own business and decided that she wasn't calling the doctor because I didn't need it. And I don't think it was her choice or her decision to make. And I was very upset even though I gave birth. But the one baby I had was delivered without the epidural. The other two, I had to have it. I don't like unnecessary pain. But for those women who say, "This is what I want," that is wonderful, because that's how I felt the first time. I just want to have the baby naturally. When you're a young mom, everything is just so wonderful and glorious until reality kicks in. So now she'll be pulling the midnight oil. And thank goodness she has her mom there to support her, because many of us who live in some of these foreign countries, when we become moms, we're doing it on our own. I was doing that on my own and figuring it out, but I had experience with young kids. In my daily life, I work with children, and every time I receive a baby, 6 months or younger, I think to myself, this is my business and I want it to grow. But sometimes I wonder how mommy is able to pull herself away from a baby that's 6 months old. They're still warm in my idea. But the truth is, when mine were younger, they went back to childcare, or they went to childcare. One, when she was only 2 weeks old, I had to go back to school because she was born reading week on my second year of university. And the first one stayed home for 3 months before she had to go to daycare. Or my last child is the only one that never had to go to daycare. She was either with her dad or myself. So I hope Alicia will take this time, this maternity leave that she's now on, to bond with her new baby and to celebrate the fact that she wanted this. She asked for it, she was blessed with it, and that you will always treasure it and not take it for granted, and that that is the most valuable, most important thing that she will ever have in her life. And I wish her all the best. Talk to me about your delivery stories or your pregnancy journey. And if you want a live, say, come, Jenny, you have to call me. I don't like to force myself on anybody. I like to be invited sometimes. All right. Congrats to her once again. Happy for her family and the growth of their family. Yes, that's what children are. They bring us together as family. And no matter what is happening in the world, the thing that make us smile, make us happy, all of us as women can celebrate this, right? Yes. You don't have to be your best friend, or she doesn't have to be your favorite person, but we can put that aside and welcome the new bundle of joy. Huh? Stay blessed, everybody. Pick up yourself and talk to me.